afternoon-ish, everyone. I am just going to do a quick demonstration on how we make our Play-Doh. I do have an assistant here today. You want to come in, Mia? Say hello. Say hello. She's going to help me today. As you can see, we even wore matching shirts. Oh. So, let's go through our checklist of our ingredients before we get started. So, we need to have our flour. We need, thank you, Emilia, our cream of tartare, our salt. We don't need our nappy. I got some coconut oil so that it smells nice. You can use most oils, any vegetable or plant-based oils, as long as it's not oil off the barbecue. No, that's an old one, Bubba. Okay. Yeah, that's finished. We also have our measuring instruments, so our cup measurements and our tea/tablespoon instruments. Ooh. And we also have our food colouring. What colour are we going to make, Bubba? What colour is this?
Pink one.
Yeah, we're going to make a pink one. Good girl.
Make it pink one.
Alrighty. So. Ooh, you got cold hands. Yeah. So, this is my large bowl. Okay. So the first instruction is to combine all of your dry ingredients. Now, I already measured out the flour, so I didn't have to bring a huge sack of flour with me. So I'm going to put that straight in there. Yes, that is the paper. That's what we're following the instructions of. Our salt. So how much salt do we need? Half a cup. I don't think I have half a cup here. This is going to be a bit of an experiment, isn't it? Or maybe I do. So this is my half a cup measurement. So you can see it is 1 part out of 2, which makes it a half. So 1/2. Alright, so that's half a cup. So that's a lot of salt that I'm dumping in there. Try not to use rock salt, because rock salt can be too chunky for this, this recipe here. Then a tablespoon. So TBSP means a tablespoon. TSP means a teaspoon. I think I've got the wrong oil here, but that's okay. So a teaspoon and tablespoon have quite a size difference. So this one here is the teaspoon. This one here is the tablespoon. So a tablespoon is 15 milliliters and a teaspoon is 5 milliliters. So make sure you use a tablespoon, otherwise you'll have not nearly enough. Alrighty, and we'll get that in there. Alrighty. Alrighty then. Put it in the bowl?
Put it in the bowl?
Yeah, good girl. Alright, and a cup of water. So I'm going to do it without a stove. So I've actually boiled my water already. So I need to mix that well. Do you want to do mix? Mix.
Yeah,
Yep. Oh, I forgot the cream of tartare. How much cream of tartare? Is that a teaspoon? 2 teaspoons. So 2 teaspoons. If 1 teaspoon is 5 milliliters, then 2 of those, so 5 times 2, would be 10 milliliters. If we want to play that game. Oh, you spill it. Oh, you make a mess. That's okay. I'll tell Aunt Kylie that it was Emilia and she should be alright with it. Alrighty, so mix, Bubba. Did he help you?
No, I want to do it.
You want to do it? Okay, keep going. Alrighty, so once we have combined all that stuff, we put our food colouring with our water first. So as I said, I have pre-boiled the water just because I'm doing it with Emilia. I didn't want to risk the stove with her. I would recommend doing this with one of your parents. Okay, as I was saying, I would recommend you doing this with a parent because it can be a bit dangerous using this stuff without an adult present. So I'm just mixing my water with my food colouring at the moment. Okay, so this is where the non-cook recipe differs to the recipe I gave you, which is the cook recipe. So the non-cook recipe, I've just put the water in the kettle, and so that's boiled it. It's not ice cream. So I'm putting hot water in rather than cold water and then cooking it, okay? So I am then going to pour the water in. What colour?
Pink.
Yes, it's pink. Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'm trying to, because I have to mix it a little bit early. So, we'll show the camera. So that's what it's starting to look like now. So I'm going to start mixing that with the spoon. And then what will happen is it'll actually start to cool down before I touch it with my hands. You don't even need to touch it with your hands, guys, if you use a nice hard spoon. But I've picked a very flexible spoon, so I will need to dip my hands in. Oh dear. No, you can't eat it. Guess what, Emilia? I think you've spilt too much flour. And we are ending up with slime. Should have poured this in incrementally. So, because I'm not cooking it, it's actually gone really slimy. So what I should have done is put a little bit of water in at a time instead of just dumping it all in and thinking I knew everything. It's not a snake. Alrighty. So, show the camera. Sit down. So that's the colour of it there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is add more flour to this to make up for the extra water that I put in. And then keep mixing it, and I should need to use my hand, so I'm just going to pause the video there, get some more flour, and then we'll come back. Yeah? Come back. Good girl. Okay, we are back with some more flour. You want to sit on your chair, Bubby? Or you want to sit with that? Okay, so no socks, stay on. Alright, so we're going to add a little bit of flour and mix it as we go until we get the consistency that we want. So if you're finding your Play-Doh is too runny, like ours is, that might be, oh, it's very soft, that might be an indicator that you need more flour. Now, if it is too hard, that means you might need more water. So I have just added 1/3 of a cup. Plus a little bit more, you reckon, Emilia? So 1/3 of a cup means that if I was to divide 1 cup into 3 equal portions, that's how much I would get. Alright, so this looks like it's going to be the right consistency. So I did add a little bit too much water earlier, but I am fixing that now. So I could add some more cream of tartare, an extra 1/3 because I added an extra 1/3 of my flour. However, the cream of tartare and the oil, they're really just to enhance the feel of your Play-Doh, to make your Play-Doh feel a little bit better. You can actually make Play-Doh with salt, flour and water if you wanted to. So the food colouring, cream of tartare, all that stuff just kind of adds to it. Alrighty, so this is still pretty slimy, but maybe once it cools down, it'll be the consistency that we want. So see how it's still sticking to my fingers? That tells me that I probably need a bit more flour, but not much more. Can I get a little bit more flour, Emilia, in the bowl? Yeah, put some more in the bowl. Daddy, do it. So I'm just going to sprinkle a bit more in. Sprinkle. Do you want to mix it with your hands? Yeah. You can stand up on your chair if you want. So this is feeling really good with this small amount, that Play-Doh. So I'm thinking we will need a fair bit more flour. But it is a bit of science. So remember, science is about experimenting. You don't get it right every single time, but you see if you can adjust things until you get them right. So have a go of your Play-Doh. Make sure you realise that you know your Play-Doh is finished only when the dough itself no longer sticks to your skin. So, good luck with yours. We're going to keep working on ours because we're not quite there yet. But that's a quick demonstration of how we can start to make our Play-Doh and not quite finish yet. Alrighty, so we finished adjusting our recipe as we needed to. You squish it, good girl. I might still add a little bit more flour, but you can see that the Play-Doh is now no longer sticking to my hand, okay? And it's all staying in one beautiful lump. Is it your turn? Okay. Got in trouble there. So, work on your Play-Doh until you have a nice big lump like this. And we're actually going to use this Play-Doh for our sculpturing later, okay? So remember to store it in an airtight either container or a Ziploc bag, or you can even just wrap it in cling wrap. Just make sure nothing is exposed to the air, because the air will dry it out. And then your Play-Doh will turn into dust, pretty much. So, keep working on your Play-Doh, get it as good as you can, because we are using it for our creative arts. So.